£4.2 million. That is how much Keir Starmer has spent on foreign travel since he walked into Downing Street. 39 trips. Less than 2 years. And today, the official Cabinet Office figures made that public. Meanwhile, consumer confidence just crashed to the lowest level ever recorded under this government. The numbers dropped this morning. And I want to walk you through every single one of them, because this story is more damning than any headline is telling you. Stay with me. Let us start with what actually dropped today, because there are 2 separate stories here, and together they tell one very clear picture. Story 1. New government transparency figures, released this morning, confirm that Keir Starmer has accumulated £4.2 million in overseas travel expenses since taking office. 39 foreign trips in under 2 years. His own colleagues, people inside the Labour Party, have given him a nickname. They call him Never Hear Keir. Story 2. Also released this morning, the British Retail Consortium published new consumer confidence data. Their measure of how people expect the economy to perform over the next 3 months has just plunged to -53. In February, it was -30. That is a collapse. And it is the worst reading since this survey began. Expectations for personal finances also fell to a record low. -17. Down from -6 just a month ago. 2 stories. Same morning. And together, they paint an absolutely devastating picture of this Prime Minister's priorities. Now let us talk numbers, because the details of these foreign trips are extraordinary. The single most expensive trip. A 3-day visit to Brazil for the COP30 climate summit. 29 officials. £413,000. For 3 days. In Brazil. The trade mission to India, 4 to 5 staff, cost £341,000. The G20 summit in South Africa, where Starmer used IAF transport, came to £368,000. And in just the final quarter of 2025 alone, October, November, December, 8 trips cost British taxpayers £1.4 million. In 3 months. Now, I want to be fair to the full picture here, and this channel always will be, because Downing Street has defended every single one of these trips. Their official line is that the travel is, quote, central to rebuilding Britain's global influence and keeping people safe through stronger alliances. They say these missions have secured billions in investment and tens of thousands of jobs. I want you to hold that thought. We are going to come back to it. Because here is where this story gets really uncomfortable for Keir Starmer. Before he became Prime Minister, Labour, including people in his own team, were absolutely vocal about Tory travel costs. When Rishi Sunak used private transport around the UK during the election campaign, Labour called him out of touch. When Liz Truss flew to Australia on a private jet for trade talks, Angela Rayner, Labour's own deputy leader at the time, said, and I am quoting her directly, "It shows the public exactly how little respect this Conservative government has for taxpayers' money." The Taxpayers Alliance put it plainly today. Their media campaign's manager said, Starmer was judge, jury and executioner on the matter of Tory travels, yet is more than happy to max out the credit card for his own foreign excursions. And it is not just political opponents saying this. People inside the Labour orbit have been saying it too. A focus group analysis by the polling company More in Common found that ordinary voters have been raising Starmer's foreign travel as a real concern. Their analyst said, and again, this is a quote, "People are quite zero-sum when it comes to politicians. They think if he is not here, he is not focused on the cost of living." That is not a right-wing attack line. That is what people in focus groups, across the political spectrum, have been saying about their own Prime Minister. So let us go back to Downing Street's defence. They say these trips have delivered billions in investment and jobs. And Kilometer Reports believes that international diplomacy matters. It does. No serious person argues that a prime minister should never travel. But here is the question we think deserves an honest answer. When energy bills are rising, when mortgage rates jumped from 4.8 to 5.4% in just 3 weeks, when consumer confidence just hit the worst reading on record this morning, when the British Retail Consortium's own chief executive says, and these are her words, consumer confidence collapsed, is a 3-day trip to Brazil with 29 officials and a bill of over £400,000 really the priority? Because those are not our words. Those are the facts released today. And there is something else worth noting. Rishi Sunak's comparable G20 trip cost £204,000. Starmer's equivalent cost £368,000. His COP conferences in Egypt and Dubai cost Sunak's government a combined £230,000. Starmer's COP30 alone cost £413,000. These are not small differences. These are numbers that matter when you are the Prime Minister who promised to make working people better off. Now I want to ask you something directly, because I genuinely want to know what you think. Do you think the amount Keir Starmer has spent on foreign trips is justified given the cost of living crisis Britain is facing right now? Or do you think, like many people in those focus groups, that a Prime Minister should be here dealing with the problems at home? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. And if you know someone who would want to see this, someone who is watching their energy bills go up, whose mortgage has just got more expensive, who is trying to work out how to manage month to month, please share this video with them. Because this is exactly the kind of story that deserves more attention than it is getting. There is one more thing I want to leave you with today. Because the consumer confidence data released this morning was not just a number. Inside that data, there was a specific finding that struck me. The drop in confidence was most pronounced, the British Retail Consortium said, among the baby boomer generation. People who are most reliant on their investments and pension funds. People who worked their whole lives, saved their whole lives, and are now watching the value of those savings being squeezed by rising inflation and higher rates. These are not abstract statistics. These are people. And this morning, the data confirmed that those people, some of the most financially careful people in Britain, are more pessimistic about their futures than at any point since this government took office. That is what is happening in Britain today, on the 26th of March 2026. £4.2 million spent getting on planes. And record low confidence from the people left on the ground. If this kind of reporting matters to you, factual, straight talking, no spin, then subscribe to Kilometer Reports. Hit the bell so you never miss a video. We cover Keir Starmer and UK politics every single week, and we are not going to stop asking the questions that the people at the top would rather we didn't. This is Kilometer Reports. See you in the next one.